Join us, support us, join us, support us. Just because the media's masses were draconian laws, a brutal police action, and we have the judiciary working at the behest of the political leaders. Join us, support us.
You ready?
Yep.
Okay, so we're out here in the Sutter Buttes, as you can see. And we are coming out here to check out Noyesburg Cemetery. We just came back from the Sutter Cemetery District office and to talk to them about some of the legends that are out here about the Witches Cemetery. And got some interesting information from the gal that works there. It's always been our understanding that Noyesburg was the cemetery that people considered witches' graveyard. But according to the office, they say that it's actually the cemetery that's up in the middle of the hills back here. So we've been given permission to go ahead and come out and check things out. And we're gonna show you guys around Noyesburg, and we're gonna try to get to the bottom of which cemetery out here is witches' graveyard.
Alan Noyes came to California in 1849 using the route from Cape Horn to San Francisco. The journey took 145 days. He mined for a year at Foster Bar, where he engaged in the butcher business for 5 years. After being in California for some time, he returned to Massachusetts, where he married his love, Miss Felina Silly. With his bride in tow, he returned to California via the Panama Canal. Once he returned, he purchased one of the finest ranches in Sutter County, 5 miles north of West Butte. It contained 2,000 acres where he engaged in general farming and stock raising. Alan passed away at the age of 76 and Felina lived to be 69 years old. He acquired the land west side of the Buttes, creating the village of Noyesburg and deeding upon his death the land to the schools and cemetery district. This peaceful property is now known as Noyesburg Cemetery. Its earliest grave is that of an unnamed baby of R.K. and Nancy Stevenson, who died in 1860. This grave is not marked. Since then, many of the Noyes family have been buried here. The legend of Witches Cemetery emerged decades ago, although no one knows exactly where this urban legend came from. It is said, though, that a mother and daughter were hung and buried here after being persecuted for witchcraft. They say that the tree, now cut down, still exists. But we have found no proof that this tree was used for a lynching. In fact, it looks much like an evergreen tree that was removed possibly because of old age. The Salem witch trials, which were committed under British rule, occurred in May 1693. At this time, America as we know it did not exist. The American Revolution didn't occur until 1775 and ended in 1783. After 1750, it was very rare for an accused witch to undergo any judicial process, or let alone be executed on the grounds of witchcraft. But the danger of lynch mobs for witchery was still alive in other countries, but in America, these actions were unheard of. After researching the legend of Witch's Graveyard here in the Buttes, I have read that the Witch's Grave is supposedly one of these unmarked graves with various frameworks or circles of stones. But if no witches had been publicly lynched since 1750 on American soil, then how could this 1860 cemetery have been site of a public hanging of an accused witch? This claim seems highly unlikely and unfounded. What we do have here is a beautiful family cemetery and a unique piece of history with its fantastic iron and marble markers to commemorate some of our first settlers to come to this region. This beautiful place has mystified people for generations and even scared a few. It's welcomed them to enter its gates by taking a step back in time to take a moment to enjoy the beauty of early craftsmanship and to enjoy the serenity that you will find within its fence lines.